The dollar is weakening, and the world is quietly starting to notice. But what most people still don't understand is that this isn't just a normal cycle. This is a reset. A silent reset that's already beginning to change the rules of money. And when money changes its rules, the safe places you thought were secure suddenly stop feeling safe. The question is not if this reset will happen, but when you will realize it's already happening. In the next 19 minutes, I'm going to show you why the dollar is losing power, why silver is the only real safe reset, and what you should be watching right now to protect your wealth. If you're new here, welcome to Silver Reset. We focus on real market shifts, not hype. And if you want to stay ahead of this wave, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because this video is going to reveal things most people want to tell you until it is too late. Also, click the bell so you don't miss the next update, because this story is moving fast. Now let us start with something simple but shocking. The dollar is not just weak, it is being engineered to stay weak. You've probably noticed the prices of everyday things going up, and you've probably felt the frustration of your paycheck not stretching as far as it used to. That feeling isn't random, it's the dollar losing value. And when the dollar loses value, the entire world shifts. Countries with big debts suddenly have less pressure because their debt is effectively smaller in real terms. That's why we're seeing more global talk about alternative currencies and new financial systems. The dollar has been the world's dominant money for decades, but dominance doesn't last forever. History shows that every major currency eventually loses its power, and what replaces it is not always obvious until it's already happening. Right now, the dollar is in that stage where it still looks strong on paper, but the foundation is cracking. The key thing most people miss is that weakness in the dollar doesn't only show up in the currency market. It shows up in markets like commodities, in the bond market, and in the way central banks react when the next crisis hits. And that is where silver comes in. Silver is not just a metal. Silver is money that has been used for thousands of years, and it has a real physical value that cannot be printed by governments. When the dollar weakens, paper assets can look like they're growing, but that growth is often just inflation, the illusion of wealth. Silver doesn't behave like paper. Silver behaves like real money. And that's why it becomes the safe reset. When people finally realize that their dollars are worth less, they will look for something that can't be devalued by a central bank. They will look for real value. And that is where silver stands alone. But why silver? Why not gold? Gold has been the traditional safe haven for a long time, but silver is different. Silver is money, yes, but it is also an industrial metal. It is used in electronics, solar panels, medical devices, and much more. That means silver has a demand that is not only driven by fear, but by real-world needs. And that combination is dangerous for those who are betting against it. When demand rises and supply remains limited, prices don't just move, they explode. The problem is, most people only think about silver as a precious metal, not as an industrial metal. And that misunderstanding is exactly what keeps silver undervalued for so long. The real world is now using more silver than ever, while new silver supply is not keeping up. That is the imbalance that creates powerful upward price pressure. Now let's talk about what's happening with the dollar right now. The US is printing money like never before, and printing money doesn't just create inflation, it creates a loss of trust. The world sees it, and the world reacts. We are already seeing central banks in other countries diversify away from the dollar. They are buying more gold, building their reserves in different currencies, and quietly reducing dollar exposure. This is a major shift. It's not just about the US economy anymore. It's about global trust in the dollar as the world's primary currency. And when trust breaks, the result is not slow. It is sudden, and it is dramatic. You might be thinking, but the dollar still looks strong. Yes, it still looks strong because the dollar is still the world's most widely used currency. But the reality is that strength is built on a fragile foundation: debt, deficits, and endless money printing. That foundation is now showing cracks, and those cracks will become visible in the form of rising prices, falling purchasing power, and a growing fear of paper money. The average person won't notice until they are already feeling the impact. But the smart investor sees it early. The smart investor watches the signals. One signal is the shift in global trade. Countries are increasingly trading in their own currencies or using alternatives to the dollar. That means the dollar's demand is slowly shrinking. And when demand shrinks, the currency weakens. This is basic economics. The dollar is not weakening because the US is weak. The dollar is weakening because the world is preparing for the next phase. The next phase is a reset, a shift to new forms of money, new alliances, and new power structures. And when that happens, the safe place is not paper. The safe place is real value. The safe place is silver. Silver has another advantage. It is the most undervalued precious metal in history when compared to gold. The silver-to-gold ratio is still extremely high, meaning silver is still far cheaper than gold relative to its value. This gap has existed for years, but it won't last forever. When the market finally realizes the imbalance, silver will not simply catch up, it will surge. And the people who buy silver before that surge will benefit the most. That is why the next few months and years are critical. The window of opportunity is closing, and those who wait will watch the train leave the station. Now let's talk about what reset really means. A reset is not just a rise in silver prices. A reset is a complete change in how money is valued. When a currency weakens, the system becomes unstable. People lose trust in paper money. They start looking for alternatives. And when enough people shift their trust away from paper, the system changes. That is the reset. Silver becomes the new anchor. Silver becomes the safe place. And those who hold silver will be the ones who are protected from the chaos. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is basic economics. When governments print money to pay debts, they create inflation. Inflation destroys the purchasing power of the currency. People respond by moving into assets that retain value. That's why gold and silver have always been the hedge against inflation. But silver is different because it also has industrial demand. That means silver is not only a hedge, it is a real asset with real-world use. And that is what makes silver the only safe reset. Now I want you to imagine something. Imagine you wake up one day and the dollar has lost 20% of its purchasing power. Prices are higher, wages haven't increased, and your savings are suddenly worth less. That is the reality of inflation. But now imagine you had silver. Not paper silver, not ETFs, not futures contracts. Real physical silver in your hands. Your savings would still hold value because silver is real. It doesn't depend on trust in a government or a bank. It depends on real value. And that is why silver is the safe reset. But there is another side to this story. The biggest danger is not the dollar weakening. It's the delay. The danger is waiting too long. Because when the market finally flips, it flips fast. The people who wait for confirmation will be the last to act. And by the time they act, the price may already be far higher. That's why we must be aware of the signals today. The signals are everywhere. The rising debt, the endless printing, the shift in global trade, the increased industrial demand for silver, the undervalued ratio, and the growing distrust in paper money. These signals are telling us that the reset is near. And this is where I want you to think like a strategist, not a gambler. Silver is not a quick lottery ticket. Silver is a long-term protection plan. It is the safe reset. It is the insurance against a collapsing currency. If you are watching this video, you already know something is wrong with the system. You already feel the tension. Now it's time to act with clarity, not panic. The first step is understanding. The second step is planning. And the third step is execution. But execution must be smart. You must choose physical silver, stored safely, not paper assets that can be manipulated. Let's also talk about the emotional side. Many people feel helpless because they don't understand how the financial system works. But the truth is, you don't need to be a financial expert to protect yourself. You only need to recognize that money is changing and you need to move into something real. Silver is the simplest, most powerful way to do that. And the best part is, you don't need a lot of money to start. You can begin small and build your position over time. Consistency beats timing. The market doesn't need you to be perfect. It only needs you to be prepared. Now I want to address the critics. Some people say silver is too volatile. Others say it's not as safe as gold. But volatility is only a problem if you are thinking short-term. If you are thinking long-term, volatility is actually an advantage. It allows you to buy more when prices dip. And if you are holding physical silver, you are not exposed to the same risks as paper investments. The real risk is not silver's price swings. The real risk is paper money losing value and you being unprepared. That is the true danger. So what should you do next? First, educate yourself. Understand the signals. Watch the dollar, watch global trade, and watch silver demand. Second, start building a physical silver position. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. Third, plan for storage and safety. Silver must be stored securely because physical assets need protection. And fourth, stay calm. The reset will not happen overnight, but it will happen. And when it does, those who prepared will be the ones who benefit. Before we end, I want to remind you that this is not financial advice. This is information to help you think clearly and make better decisions. And if you found this video helpful, please comment below with your thoughts. Do you believe the dollar is weakening? Are you already holding silver? What is your biggest concern about the future? Your comments help others learn, and they also help me understand what topics you want next. And if you found value in this video, please share it with someone who needs to hear this. The more people who understand the truth, the safer we all become. If you want more updates on silver, the dollar, and the reset, make sure you're subscribed to Silver Reset, because the next phase of this story is already starting. And when it accelerates, you will want to be ready. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.